Monster Hunter World provides hunters with numerous tools and weapons to take on the beasts that roam the world. With each weapon comes a unique set of moves and mechanics that a hunter must master. With training and knowledge of these, a hunter can decimate the monstrous foes that lie in their way. I'm Darcblade, and in this video we're going to bring you a hunter's guide to the Light Bowgun. The Light Bowgun bears many similarities to its sister weapon, the Heavy Bowgun. However, it trades some of the high damage ammunition types and clip size for increased mobility. Being a bowgun, it can attack monsters from range, allowing a hunter to stay out of harm's way. On top of that, the weapon can be very versatile thanks to the sheer amount of ammunition types it can wield. The Light Bowgun can also make use of rapid fire ammunition, which can help when it comes to damage output. On top of that, it also has access to the WYVERNBLAST special ammunition, which can be used to set up traps or enhance the Light Bowgun user's damage overall. Whilst yes, the Light Bowgun doesn't have some of the heavy hitting ammunition types that the Heavy Bowgun has, thanks to being able to move faster with the weapon as well as the rapid fire and large number of ammo types available to it, the Light Bowgun user can still potentially deal high amounts of damage. But anyway, let's move on to talk about the basic moves for the Light Bowgun. Now, the Light Bowgun's basic move set is quite small. First, you have your draw attack, which can be done in two ways. First is done by simply pressing R2. This will draw the weapon. You can also draw the weapon by pressing triangle, and if done this way, then it will automatically perform a reload to whatever current ammo type you have selected. Next you have aim, which is done by holding L2. You can then use the right stick while holding L2 to aim, while still being able to move with the left stick. You then have your fire button, which is done by pressing R2. Now this can be done by firing from the hip, but this will mean it will have reduced accuracy, or it's normally done in conjunction with holding L2. So you would hold L2 and then press R2 to fire. Next you have evade, which is done by pressing the direction and X. This will cause you to roll out of the way of a monster's attack, or reposition yourself. However, if you should press a direction and X after firing, then you will instead perform a sidestep. This will cause you to hop in whichever direction you've pressed on the left stick. This can help you reposition yourself if need be. However, if you press X and a direction another time after the sidestep, you'll perform a sliding evade. That can help avoid attacks or even reposition yourself if need be. Now both these evade moves do have some invincibility frames behind them, so they're well worth using. Next is reload. Now this is done in one of two ways. You can either press triangle to reload whatever ammo you have selected at the time, or should the current ammo type be out of ammo completely, just press R2. Next you have WYVERNBLAST, which is your special ammunition type. All you have to do is press circle to place one of these tiny mine explosives in the ground. You can place up to 3 of them, indicated in the bottom right of the screen above your ammunition types. Next is cycle through ammo. This is done in two ways. You can either hold L1 and then press triangle to go up or X to go down to select what ammo you want. The ammo selected is the one highlighted down in the bottom right of your screen. You can also, if you want, save time and just press up and down on the D-pad. The next basic move is your melee attack, which is done by pressing triangle and circle. It's not that useful, but it is an option. But anyway, that's about it for the basic moves. Let's move on to talk about the unique mechanics of the Light Bowgun. The first mechanic we need to talk about is the WYVERNBLAST. This is the special ammunition type available to the Light Bowgun. Now you can have up to 3 of these WYVERNBLASTs at any time. These are indicated in the bottom right of your screen above your ammunition. So pressing circle will place one of these mines and it will consume one of the indicators down in the bottom right. The good thing is these will recharge over time, so don't worry about wasting them too much. Anyway, once the WYVERNBLAST is in the ground, it can be activated in numerous ways. First, it can be activated by yourself by shooting it. It can be activated by a monster attacking it or running into it, or it can be activated by your allies should they hit it. Now, depending on the strength of the attack that hits the mine will result in the damage and the size of the explosion that the mine gives off. So for example, should it be hit with a weak attack, then it will deal a small explosion dealing moderate damage, and this can be activated 5 times before the mine disappears. Should you hit it with a medium strength attack, then there'll be a larger explosion which can be activated up to 3 times, and should you hit it with the hardest possible attack you can, then it will be a large damaging explosion, and this can be activated up to 2 times before the mine disappears. Now, as I said, you can have up to 3 WYVERNBLASTs at any one point. So say a monster is asleep, you could place all 3 WYVERNBLASTs down on its head and then activate them for large amounts of damage. However, once you've placed the mine, if it hasn't been activated by yourself, teammates or a monster, then eventually they will fade after 60 seconds. So that is something to be aware of. WYVERNBLAST mines can be useful in multiple ways. You can use them defensively by setting up traps, anticipate a monster running into them, or you can use them offensively, placing them down on a sleeping monster as I suggested. It's up to the player how they best use them. Anyway, the next mechanic is critical distance. Now, we've covered this before when talking about the Heavy Bowgun and the bow. This is basically the reticle indicated in the center of your screen. Now, once you have a double circle, it will mean that you're within critical distance, or critical range as it's sometimes known. This means that your shots will be dealing the most amount of damage they can possibly do. If you move away further, it will turn into a single circle, which means that your hits will still deal damage, but it just won't be optimal damage. And then if you move even further away, eventually it will say out of range, and it means that your shots will be doing next to nothing. Now, depending on the ammunition type you are using, this critical distance will change, so this is something to be aware of and get used to when using any of the ranged weapons in the game. The next mechanic bowgun users have to get used to is recoil. Recoil refers to the severity of the weapon's kickback when a shot is fired. Now, depending on what ammunition type you are using, the recoil can differ. And when crafting your bowgun, you can see the recoil of each ammunition type by pressing L3 when looking at what light bowgun you want. Now, when it comes to recoil, if a weapon has strong recoil, then you'll have a long animation after firing the weapon. During this animation, your hunter won't be able to do anything. You have to wait until the animation finishes before you gain control of it. So basically, strong recoil can result in loss of character control for a short period. Normally the ammunition types that are of higher level result in higher recoil, but as a result they normally do more damage. The next mechanic is reload. Now, whilst reloading is basically done with pressing triangle, there is a way where you can reload all your ammunition types in order. This is done by holding down triangle. Once you hold triangle, your hunter will cycle through all the ammunition types that have ammo missing in their clip and reload it in order. This is a long animation though, so should only really be done when a monster's run away or you're preparing to go into a fight again. The next mechanic is deviation. Deviation is a stat found on some bowguns, both heavy and light. Now, deviation affects the direction and severity of bullet direction when firing. This will be regardless of what ammo type is used. The further the shot travels, the stronger the effect of the deviation will be, and thus it will affect the shot's accuracy. Now, you can tell what the deviation is by the amount your reticule moves upwards, meaning that often weapons with high deviation means you'll have to readjust your aim after firing a shot. The next mechanic is bowgun customization. Now, both the heavy and light bowgun can be customized by the blacksmith in the workshop. These customizations buff the weapon in various ways, and depending on the rarity of your weapon crafted will dictate the number of mods or customizations you can actually put on your gun. For example, if it's rarity 5 or higher, you can put 3 mods on the gun. Anyway, the customizations available to the light bowgun include recoil suppressor, which reduces the recoil of the weapon. You have reload assist that can reduce the reload time. You have deviation suppressor, which reduces the deviation when firing. Close range up, that increases the attack power when you're at close range. This normally has to be very close, so spread ammo close. And then you have ranged attack up, which increases the attack power when firing at long ranges. Now, you can see the effect these mods will have on all of your ammunition types by pressing L3 when you're checking out the various customization mods. It will indicate the effect it will have on the various ammo types at level 1, 2 and 3. Now, what it means by level 1, 2 and 3 is that you can stack these mods. So for example, recoil suppressor you could have level 1 if you only put one of the customizations in. However, if you fill up all 3 customization slots with recoil suppressor, then it will count as a level 3 recoil suppressor. So this again is worth considering when crafting your various bowguns. The final mechanic that is worth mentioning is rapid fire. Now, when it comes to selecting your light bowgun, when you're looking at what ammunition type you can have by pressing L3 on whatever bowgun you want to craft or whatever one you want to equip, then sometimes you will see an indicator next to the ammunition type of 2 orange triangles on top of each other. This will indicate that this ammo type can be rapid fired. This means that this ammo type has a rapid fire mechanic with that specific light bowgun. Rapid fire means that instead of firing the shot once, it will instead fire it up to 3 times for the cost of just 1 ammo used in your clip. This can really increase the damage of the light bowgun, but normally the rapid fire weapons are restricted to elemental, normal fire and spread fire ammunition types. Nonetheless though, it's worth keeping an eye on whatever ammunition type has rapid fire. You can also tell what weapon has rapid fire when selecting your ammo types in the middle of a match by the double orange triangle appearing next to the ammunition type in the bottom right of your screen. Additionally as well, there is a blue indicator similar to the double orange triangle which can be found next to your ammunition types, which indicates that this ammo type can be automatically reloaded. You don't have to stop and manually do it. It means that as soon as the ammunition runs dry in that clip, your hunter will reload it automatically. But anyway, now I would normally move on to talk about the useful combos for the weapon, but unfortunately the light bowgun doesn't really have any combos per se. Instead, the complexity and variety of damage comes from the sheer amount of ammunition types the bowgun has available to you. So I will go through these in turn. Now remember, most of the bowgun ammunition types come from level 1 to 3, 1 being the weakest but normally having the least recoil and normally quicker to reload, whilst 3 normally hit the hardest but have the highest recoil and normally take longer to reload. Nonetheless, the light bowgun has normal ammo available to it, which deals pretty bog standard damage to a monster. Mind you, a lot of light bowguns come with rapid fire normal ammo, which can increase the overall damage of this ammunition type. You then have pierce ammo, which is a shot that can pierce through a monster, hitting multiple hitboxes along the way. This ammo type normally shines at longer distances, so keep an eye on your critical distance when using this ammo type. This also works better on monsters who have long bodies. Next is spread ammo, which is akin to a shotgun blast. This is your close range ammo, and again some light bowguns come with rapid fire spread ammo, which is really nice when it comes to damage, although it does mean that you have to be close to a monster to make use of it. Next is sticky ammo, which is an explosive ammo type that will stick to a monster's body part and then explode after a few seconds. Now the explosion from this can cause knockout damage, so if aimed at a head it can potentially KO a monster, leaving them incapacitated for a short period. Next is sliced ammo, which is a shot similar to the sticky ammo, so you fire it, it will stick to a monster's location and after a second or two it will explode, but the explosion won't be an explosion per se, it will be a series of slashes that come in useful for severing monsters' body parts like tails and that. But anyway, let's talk about the ailment ammunition types. Now these won't inflict an ailment on the monster just through one shot, you have to hit multiple shots before the effect occurs. So you have poison ammo, that can potentially poison a monster. You have paralysis ammo, that can potentially paralyze a monster, leaving them incapacitated for a moment. You have sleep ammo, that can put a monster to sleep. This can come in very useful for setting up a WYVERNBLAST trap. And then you have exhaust ammo, that can leave a monster exhausted. An exhausted monster will have drool coming from their mouths, they'll be sluggish, and they'll even sometimes stop to catch their breath. Next you have the elemental ammunition types, these cause elemental damage, and some of these can come with rapid fire, depending on the light bowgun you craft. Nonetheless, you have flaming ammo that deals high fire damage, water ammo that deals, well, water damage, freeze ammo that can deal ice damage, thunder ammo that deals thunder damage, and finally dragon damage that deals dragon damage, but on top of that it also comes with the Elder Seal effect. And then finally you have the support ammunition types, which are ammo types used on your allies, so shooting your allies with these various ammo types will buff your allies in various ways. For example, you have recover ammo that will heal an ally's health, you have demon ammo that applies an attack boost to your allies, you have armor ammo that applies a defense boost to your allies, and then finally you have tranquilizer ammo, which isn't really used on your allies, it's more used on sleeping monsters, and they work like tranq bombs. Anyway, those are the various ammo types available to the light bowgun. Next we'll move on to the aerial and environmental moves to the light bowgun. Now this weapon doesn't really have many. First of all you have your jump in reload, which is done mid-air by pressing triangle. This will cause you to attack with the light bowgun, but upon landing, should the ammo type you have selected need reloading, then your hunter will automatically reload it. When it comes to sliding down a slope, you can either press triangle to draw the weapon, which can then be followed up by R2, which allows you to fire the weapon while going down the slope. However, if the weapon has high recoil, it will stop you from sliding. You can also press jump by pressing X while sliding, which will then allow you to go into the jumping reload with triangle or R2. But anyway, let's move on to talk about the additional tips for the light bowgun. As I mentioned, critical distance is key to doing the most damage you can, but you have to remember that when it comes to the ammo types, the critical distance will change. So depending on what ammo types you like to use the most, learn the critical distance, and when switching between them, remember to change your position as needed. When it comes to reloading your weapon, as I said, you can hold triangle to reload multiple ammo types, but remember you don't actually have to stay still to load the majority of the light bowgun's ammo types. You can continue to move and reload whilst running. Okay, some of the high level ammunition types will still cause you to stand in place, put your bowgun down and reload it that way, but a lot of the ammunition types will not incapacitate your character while reloading. When it comes to offense as well, if you have an opportunity where reloading will actually reduce your DPS, you can just simply switch your ammo type instead of reloading. So say you're firing your spread ammo and it comes to the end of the clip, instead of stopping to reload, just quickly press up or down on the D-pad, go to your normal ammo, keep on firing. When that runs out, press up and down again to go to the next ammo type and keep on fighting that way. Okay, eventually it will mean that all of your ammo types will run out, but nonetheless it allows you to keep assaulting a monster without having to stop. However, knowing the order of your ammo types in the bottom right of your screen really helps with this tactic. Another tip as well when selecting ammo types is to customize your radial menu. You can customize your radial menu to whatever ammunition type you want, so you can always have access to your favorites with just the touch of a button, rather than having to cycle through a list of ammunition types. Another tip is, well, you can actually craft ammo on the fly, so if there's an ammunition type, say dragon ammo, that only allows you to carry a few of them, you can craft them should they run out whilst in the field instead of having to go back to camp to restock. Finally as well, when it comes to rapid fire, the individual shots from a rapid fire ammunition type generally are weaker than a standard shot, but nonetheless, should you hit all of the shots from a rapid fire burst, the damage they deal is a lot more than a single shot. So as I said, when it comes to crafting your light bowguns, take a look out for rapid fire ammunition types when crafting. With rapid fire weapons, lastly, you should be aware that when actually firing a rapid fire weapon, you can't actually cancel out of the rapid fire animation. But anyway, let's move on to talk about the pros and cons of the light bowgun. First of all, the light bowgun is a very versatile weapon. This is thanks to the sheer amount of ammunition types the gun has available to it. While yes, this can be dictated by what light bowgun you craft, in general most light bowguns have ammunition types for any situation in the game. Next, the weapon is very fast and mobile. It has good evasive moves, and on the whole you won't be slowed down like you are with the heavy bowgun. And then finally, the last major pro is the fact that the weapon can have rapid fire ammunition types, allowing you to deal more damage than your single shot counterparts, so long as all the shots from the burst hit the monster. But on the downside, when it comes to the cons, the light bowgun tends to have smaller clip sizes, which means you have to reload more frequently. And the other con is, unfortunately, compared to the heavy bowgun, it doesn't have access to all of the heavy hitting ammunition types that weapon has. Whilst yes, your damage output can be made up slightly with rapid fire ammunition, it's nonetheless something to be aware of. Overall, the light bowgun took me a while to get used to. I did miss having access to the heavy hitting moves like cluster bombs and wyvern ammo, but after getting used to rapid fire ammunition and the sheer mobility that this weapon has available to it, it quickly became enjoyable. Obviously, the sheer amount of ammunition types it has available to it allows it to perform numerous roles, from a debuffer, crowd control, damage dealer, to even a semi-pseudo support role. All the ammo types allow the light bowgun to perform well at all these roles. Some people may question its damage output, but should you make use of the rapid fire ammunition types as well as the WYVERNBLAST, then questions of damage output quickly become answered. Okay, this means that you have to be careful about what light bowgun you craft. For me personally, having a rapid fire spread ammunition allowed for high amounts of DPS. Granted, it means you have to get close to a monster, but nonetheless, it helped. Now, if you're a player who prefers ranged combat, who likes a weapon that can perform multiple tasks, a bit of a jack of all trades weapon, who still likes to keep quite mobile while having access to some decent damage options, then I can strongly advise the light bowgun. Now remember that the damage numbers and effectiveness of the weapons can vary due to numerous factors, from gear, buffs, monster defenses to even the environment. All of these can help or hinder a weapon's performance. With that in mind, knowing as much as you can about the weapon as possible will help achieve a successful hunt. Anyway, I hope you found this video informative, and until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you a hunter's guide to the light bowgun in Monster Hunter World. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.